evening. Well, tonight we're going to be kind of taking a step back and reviewing our rules for 1 and 2 step equations, but this time we're going to trade in that equal sign for an inequality sign. So if we remember, inequality is less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. Okay, that's what an inequality is. All right, so our notes tonight are going to be titled Solving, it's lesson 2.5, Solving 1 and 2 step inequalities. So we're going to get started here. With a few notes. So write this down. The goal of solving an inequality is to find all possible values of the variable. All right. So that's point number 1. Point number 2. We solve inequalities just like we solve equations by using opposite operations. So you know what I'm talking about when I say that, right? By undoing addition, you use subtraction. By undoing division, you use multiplication. That's what we mean by opposite operations. Okay? And here's the third point. However, an inequality does not have one solution. But it could have infinitely many solutions. And I'm going to show you what that means. That's why we use greater than and less than. And especially as you get older into math, higher levels of math, you're going to see that there's a range of values, okay? So, rule number 1. Let's go back to our notes. Rule number 1. Whatever is done to one side of the inequality is always done to the other side. That's rule number 1. Whatever is done to one side, you have to do it to the other side. If you're subtracting 7 to get that 7 off of one side, you have to subtract 7 from the other side of the equation, of the equal sign, or in this case, the inequality sign. Okay? The only difference, and this is important, with inequalities is this. Number 2. when dividing or multiplying by a negative number to solve, you must, this is big, okay, this is the only difference, you have to flip the inequality sign. So I'm going to show you examples of what this means today, okay? But first, let's go over a few terms here. When you graph an inequality, graphing it means plotting it on a number line. So if x is less than 2, we draw a number line, okay? And here's 2, and here's 1, and here's 3. If x is less than 2, we are going to draw a circle at 2, and then we're going to show the arrow going in the less than direction. Every number that is less than 2, it's going to cover that, okay? So less than goes to left. Remember, less than, left. And on the other side of that, if your equation is x is greater than 5, here's how you could plot that. It's going to go to the right. Every number, it's going to cover every number greater than. So, greater than goes to the right. Okay? Greater than goes to the right. Less than goes to the left. And then 2 more notes here. Then we'll do an example. If the circle is open, that is only if you use greater than or less than. If the circle is closed, it's colored in, this would be a closed circle. That is greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. So the equal to means colored in. So if I change this up here to greater than or equal to 5, I would color in my dot because of equal to. Okay? So it's a lot of notes. If you need to pause at any time, feel free to, and then you can catch back up with us. We're going to do a few examples. These are just 1 or 2 steps. I'm going to show you how to graph them, and then that's it for tonight, okay? Example 1. X plus 7 is greater than negative 23. Remember, we want to get this x by itself. So it's the same rules that we use with solving equations. We have to get the x by itself. The only difference in our answer is that it's going to say x is greater than negative 23, unless we have to divide or multiply by a negative at any time. It flips our sign to be less than. So let's go ahead and solve this. We need to get the x by itself, so we got to get this plus 7 off. So we're going to subtract 7 from both sides. Over here we get 0. So we're left with x is greater than, and negative 23 minus 7, keep, flip, change. We end up adding 2 negatives, and we get negative 30. X is greater than negative 30. So let me show you how we would graph that. Okay, so how would we graph that? We were going to make a circle at 30, and it's going to be open because it doesn't have the line under it. It's not greater than or equal to, and it is greater than, so we're going to go this direction, and there you go. Let's do another example. Example 2. Okay. Negative 6x is less than or equal to 48. So we got to solve for this x. So this is just a one-step equation. So we got to get the negative 6 off the x. We're going to divide by negative 6 on both sides. But this should, anytime you say to yourself, divide by a negative or multiply by a negative, in an equation, in an inequality, an alarm should go off in your head. Bang, 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 bang. It should tell you, flip the sign, flip the sign. Because you are dividing by a negative. We're dividing by a negative 6. So we have to flip that sign. Now, instead of less than or equal to, it is greater than or equal to. This ends up being just x because it cancels. Negative 6 over negative 6. And over here we have 48 divided by negative 6, which is a positive divided by a negative. It's going to leave us with a negative 8. So let's plot that on our number line. Okay, we're going to make our circle on the 8. Is it going to be filled in or open? Well, look at your sign. It is going to be colored in because it is or equal to. And it's now greater than, because we flipped it. So we're going to be going this direction to the right. And that's it. All right, bring these notes to class tomorrow. We'll put these to practice in some work. Have a good night.